So, as most of you know, the FCC made a law in the early 90s stating that network television must have at least 3 hours of educational television during the week. Fox Kids was not doing well in that aspect. Even with Bobby's World, which came into question constantly of how educational it was. In Animaniacs, which had educational bits and pieces, the FCC was not satisfied. Enter Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego. While this series covered only half an hour, there was a 2.5-hour chunk that needed to be fulfilled. And hey, Fox Kids had a weekday morning slot that has been mostly used for reruns anyway. Muppet Babies, Chipmunks, Merry Melodies have all used that second slot. They could put an educational show in that slot. However, I wonder what Fox Kids originally had planned for the 94-95 season if it wasn't for the FCC mandate. My guess is the plans to move Tasmania and Bobby's World to weekdays and moving Power Rangers to the afternoon would still have been the same. I think Batman would not have been moved to Saturday mornings, and Tiny Toons would have been moved to weekday mornings. But that's just a guess. Would it have stopped Animaniacs from moving to Kids WB? No, I think it would have moved no matter what. And Warner Brothers just used Batman moving to Saturdays as an excuse. So the show that Fox Kids probably never intended to air but was forced to is The Fox Cub House. The Fox Cub House premiered in the fall of 1994 and featured 3 different children's educational series. Jim Henson's The Animal Show with Stinky and Jake, it aired on Mondays and Fridays. Johnson and Friends aired on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And Rambha's Island aired on Wednesdays. At the beginning of each show, the crew of the Cub House would get into mischief before the start of that day's episode, and fit in a theme like friendship or why we don't eat glue. And that is all I can tell you about that portion of the show. I cannot find any episodes of the show itself. I can find the 3 shows that Fox used, but not the Fox Cub House itself. All of the articles that I found say nothing about the show itself. It just talks about, hey, Fox has an educational show now. And that's it. Well, this is what I found. The series revolve around a woman named Rosie, who was replaced by a girl named Sunny in the 2nd season, her pet alligator Stilbert, Bird Vogel, Fox Cammy, Mailbox Melvin. Oh, the puns are strong with that one. And the kids that would come to the Cub House. I also found the trademark history for the Fox Cub House. It was filed in 1994 and was canceled in 2003. That's something. No, it's not. That's hitting rock bottom. Let's talk about the first 3 series of the Fox Cub House. Johnson and Friends is a delightful romp about toys coming to life and learn about things like sharing and friendship. It features Johnson, the big pink elephant, as the title character. It was produced in Australia, but was redubbed into English for American audience for those who do not speak Australian. I'll wait to let that sink in. It's harmless fun that entertains the little ones. It has likable characters in the familiar setting of a little kid's room, and it aired on Fox Kids a year before Toy Story came out. Rambha's Island takes you to an island. That's a given considering the name of the show. It features brightly colored animals playing together and learning lessons. I can't really get a good grip of this series since the video footage I found is just someone holding a video camera up to a TV showing it. So I can't hear the audio well. It looks fun and colorful. Here, I'll use Rambha's IMDb description. Colorful costume character animals in a fanciful rainforest. The show teaches children about growing up happy, healthy, and wisely. Moving on. The Jim Henson Animal Show. The Jim Henson Animal Show is a nice departure from the other 2 series because it changes the format. It's an animal talk show where the skunk Stinky and the polar bear Jake interview animals and learn about them. There are songs and somewhat of a story. There is a lot of variety in this series. Again, it's cute.
You know, considering the short time this series has been on the air, it is pretty amazing that it already ranks among the top 10 in its target of 2 to 5-year-olds and is beating more established shows which attract 2 to 11-year-olds. It also recently received the prestigious Parents' Choice Award.
After the first season, Fox decided to revamp the Cub House with a new host and 2 new shows. Budgie the Little Helicopter. a show created by Sarah Ferguson, The Duchess of York. This series was a nice departure from what the Fox Cub House had before. Each character is interesting and the stories are as well. It was about Budgie the little helicopter and his friends dealing with day-to-day life. I'm surprised they didn't do a redub of this series, replacing their British-speaking actors with English-speaking ones, like they did with Johnson and Friends. I'll wait to let that sink in. The downside is, the animation may look a little too kiddie. It might turn older viewers off, but this show isn't geared towards older viewers, so that's okay. Look at it as another version of Thomas the Tank Engine. Speaking of Thomas, here's a show created by Britt Allcroft, the creator of Thomas and Friends, The Magical Adventure of Mumphy. It's a charming little show about Mumphy the elephant and his friends. The animation and writing is great in this one. The voice acting... well, the idea of the narrator voicing every character may work for the original Thomas and Friends, but when they started animating mouth movements, it didn't work anymore. That is what happened with Mumphy. Everything is great about this series except for the voice actor narrating every character.
Scarecrow, we live in a roundhouse. This confused Scarecrow. You mean we live in an igloo? Who ever heard of an igloo with portals? Or window boxes? Who ever heard of a bird living in an igloo in the first place? And they all began to argue.
Budgie, Mumphy, and the animal show really should have been their own thing. Especially Budgie and Mumphy. Even when Fox Cub House was cancelled, Mumphy could have been continued on Fox Kids. Cub House started off fine, but ended up as a jumbled mess in Season 2 when they added Budgie and Mumphy. They could have treated it more like Animaniacs without setting certain series on certain days of the week. But after 2 seasons, the Fox Cub House closed its door and only one of the series made it onto Fox Family Channel, The Magical Adventures of Mumphy. Thus ended the series that Fox probably never wanted to air in the first place. A show created by Sarah Ferguson, The Duchess of New York. I just now got where New York came from. Next time on the history of Fox Kids.
On a distant and embattled planet called Edenoi, a young prince named Dex is given great powers by his grandfather, the king, and is sent to the planet Earth to protect it from the advancing evil of Count Dragon and his vicious insectoids. Once on Earth, he is adopted by a kind family and learns to live as a human. With his companion Phoebus by his side, Dex is ever vigilant, ready at a moment's notice to call on his powers to become Masked Rider.
Why is that thing from Krampus there?